All right, Amanda, we've been waiting for this. We've been teasing guests. We've been saying we're going to start doing this weekly. And I was trying to think of who could be our first guest on the show. And I thought, if I'm the person that drives you the most crazy on social media with my Longhorn rhetoric, I know you think you've sent me into the nether world with all your bookmarks and stuff. I said, who's second? And I said, let's
honestly
get
probably
SEC.
not Mike. It's honestly probably not Mike. There's plenty of people that are way worse on social media, I promise.
But I said, let me get one of my fellow friends in the media that loves to stir up, kick the hornet's nest down there in Austin. So SEC Mike needs no introduction. Thanks so much for joining us. And like I said, first guest ever on the Moving Goalposts podcast. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for the engagement. And I'm honored. I'm a big fan.
Hey, I want to start with one quick question. What in the hell happened to Cousin Shane? Cracker Barrel blocked him speaking of Twitter, they blocked him on Twitter?
Again, this is the second time that Cracker Barrel has blocked him. And this is after literally years we've been trying to attract them as a sponsor to our program. And I don't know if you caught the news, but Cracker Barrel just announced their partnership with Barstool. I think it's, what's it called? Unnecessary Roughness. So,
oh, wow. With Brandon and them.
That was a double kick in the nuts for Cousin Shane.
So they went with Brandon Walker, T-Bob, and Casey.
Right.
And I simultaneously blocked Cousin Shane. Damn.
I feel like a block's a little extreme there. I have Billy Bob's has me blocked on Twitter. The saloon in Fort Worth, the place where I grew up using fake IDs. Maybe that's why, but it's because I complained to them on social media that they handled the return of Turnpike Troubadours poorly with their ticketing, and they just blocked me. It's like, you know what? That's a you problem, Billy Bob's.
It sounds like a good business model to me. You don't like the complaining, block them. Some people say that's all I do. If you say something negative about A&M, block. It's not.
Well, yeah, like, sorry, your site crashed and people are going to be mad about it. Like, that's like Taylor Swift blocking everybody when Ticketmaster crashed.
Did she?
Yeah, I swear this was not meant to be a fat joke, but Cracker Barrel just blocked their biggest fan in Cousin Shane.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, what in the hell are you thinking?
All right, before tell Shane I'm sorry. I will find him.
Getting fired.
I'll find him a restaurant here in College Station to sponsor y'all. But it's okay. So speaking of crashing, I want to ask you which SEC team's going to crash out this year, but we'll save that for a minute. Let's start with the two teams that Amanda and I typically talk about every week. One of them right here in College Station, the other one down the road in Austin. Her Texas Longhorns, my fighting Texas Aggies. Let's start with Texas. Their preseason number 1 that came out this week. Amanda, why don't you start us off and get into Mike's thoughts on the Horns?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear it. I feel like a lot of people are surprised. I could care less if they were preseason number 1. If they were in between that 1 through 5 range, that's all. I mean, I'd be happy with any of that. I feel like you can make an explanation for really multiple teams to be number 1. There's not really a clear leader at this point. So I guess, I mean, they've made the college football playoff the last 2 years straight. They're returning a decent amount. There's some question marks at O-line, but they have a more experienced QB, arguably, than Ohio State or Georgia. So that, I guess that's where that comes from. But like, personally, I'm of the opinion 1 through 5, I'm happy. Texas being number 1 actually gives me anxiety. So I would love to hear your thoughts, though, because I'm sure they're not with Texas at number 1.
Well, I think you have to put them number 1 because they're the new Alabama. That's what I've heard. Even though
we actually have that later in the show discussing that, and I had a tweet on that today that I do not agree with that Athletic article. That was insane.
They haven't done a damn thing to earn that.
No.
So I'm glad you agree with that. But I think this is just arch mania because again, I think he'll be very good. But I'm certainly not rooting against him. But it's hard to see him even meeting, not even exceeding the expectations that are being thrown upon him right now. Again, I think he's going to be very, very good. And I think in 2026, I think he will win the Heisman Trophy. But in 2025, I don't see it. I don't see it for Arch. I think Texas, number one, I think that's fine because I do have them as the best team in the SEC as well. I'm not picking them to win the league, though. So, maybe I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, which I tend to do. But I do think they'll make the SEC championship. I would take Alabama, though, to be the SEC champion. That's who I voted. But I have no problem with Texas being, 2 or 3.
Mike, godly, man. He brought up the next Bama. And
it's like y'all, this is what you said. It's like y'all compare outfits before you come on this show to make sure everything aligns and you match.
That's exactly what I have, Mike. I think Texas could very well be the best team in the SEC. I don't think the gap is going to be very big. By that, I mean, I think they could have the best regular season record in getting to Atlanta. But I think this league's going to be so competitive at the top this year, like that top 5, I think is going to be so difficult to separate. I just, for whatever reason, and Amanda and I are going to talk about that later, I think I have Bama winning in Atlanta. But I also agree with you on Arch. I think he's going to be really damn good. I just think I think there will be some growing pains this year. Now, whether or not, and Amanda and I've debated this and agreed on it and argued on it all offseason, whether or not those growing pain weeks come against the wrong opponent remains to be seen. So I think there's going to be up and down. He might go carve up Ohio State and have a rough game against Florida, but the defense, we just don't know. But I agree with you. I think he's going to be a great player. I think there's ups and downs to be had in essentially year one as a starter, and I think that's going to be throughout the whole league. So I don't think it kills Texas or any other team. But I agree. I had Penn State 1, and then I'm almost like a coin flip, guys, between Texas and Ohio State 2-3, and I guess that really doesn't matter.
That took some work to get you there, though.
It did. It took like weeks of her breaking down why Georgia shouldn't be up there. Then I tried to move Clemson up. That got picked apart over a span of a couple weeks. So, yeah, we settled on 2-3.
See, my question is, where is the confidence in the Alabama quarterback situation for a quarterback that was in a quarterback battle versus one that is obviously the standout number one quarterback position, because they are in a similar position where they have 2 new starting quarterbacks, but Arch does obviously have a little bit more starting experience there.
Yeah, well, confidence in Ty Simpson admittedly is low right now, to be honest with you. But I think Alabama's going to be so good that they don't need a star. What they needed last year was for Jalen Milroe to stop turning the ball over. That's what killed them last year. And I fault Kalen DeBoer, or I call him DeBoring because he's so damn boring. He should have adapted his system to Jalen Milroe's strengths, and he didn't do it. So, again, that's on DeBoring. Yeah. Now they got Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator, back. Can Alabama do these things we're saying if the quarterback is a liability? No, they cannot. But if he's just a caretaker, he's surrounded by weapons. I love the Alabama receivers. I think they're going to have one of the best offensive lines in the conference. Jam Miller may be the most underrated running back in the conference. And I think they're going to have one of the better defenses. So you put all that together, that's why I'm high on Alabama. It's got very little to do with Ty Simpson as QB1.
Amanda, you got anything else on Texas? I had just one question.
Go for it.
Mine was just going to be, as far as the Longhorns, if they play for or win a national, for them to reach the mountaintop, what has to happen this year? That might be as simple as an Arch Manning answer. But then, and if they don't win the SEC and get bounced in the playoff first game or two, what holds this team back in your mind?
Well, one thing I don't hear a lot of discussion about is Steve Sarkisian. Mm-hmm. And I've been dead wrong about the guy. I didn't think he was going to make it at Texas. I didn't think he'd be able to turn Texas around, and he clearly has. He's got that thing humming. They got all the resources in the world. That they should win a national championship under Steve Sarkisian. But at the same time, you could sit here and say, is this guy a big game coach? I mean, they got their ass whooped by Georgia last year, last I checked. They lost to them again with the backup quarterback in. They lost to Ohio State, and then you go back to the year before. I still don't know how he lost to Washington.
DeBoring.
Texas,
He lost to
DeBoering,
DeBoer.
yeah. I mean, DeBoering, I guess, is a good coach, but Texas should have played for the national championship there. So I'm questioning how elite Sarkisian is in these big-time situations. But in fairness to Sarkisian, you could literally say that about every coach until they do
Until
it.
they get
we were
there,
saying it. We were saying that basically against Kirby Smart. You know, you just got to do it, and I guess for me to see it, but it just seems like every time Texas is in one of these games with a team with equal or near talent in the last couple of years, that now he whooped Nick Saban's ass. I'll give him that, but that's the only one that I can really think of.
Yeah, because Venables doesn't count yet. I don't
Yeah,
think.
I mean, those Oklahoma teams he played, he shouldn't have lost the second year against Oklahoma. That was a major. I mean, that was just an awful game altogether. But first year, that you can't say that's a big game. It was 49-0. I mean, generally it's a competitive rivalry every single year, but you can't say that was a great win for him when it was 49-0. It was a cakewalk. It was wonderful for me. I had a great time at that Cotton Bowl. But.
Mike, Amanda was on my ass last week because I had so many toss-up games for A&M, and her question, and it was a fair one. I thought I hit her with a really good answer, which was go down the list of the SEC. You guys do this for every team: win, loss, toss, right? I think I had like 7 toss-ups for A&M, and I'm a little bit. People accuse me of going a certain way with it. I really am kind of like reluctant to chalk games up as a win. I'm sitting there going, I don't know about that one. So she was like, well, how good can you really be if there's that many toss-ups? But my thing is, I think you guys did it for every team. I bet there was a hell of a lot of toss-ups this year. What do you think of Texas A&M and their chances this fall? And specifically, I'd love to get your take on Marcel Reed, because that's kind of been the talk of the summer here in College Station and around the conference when talking about A&M.
Yeah, well, to answer your first question, I got A&M going to the college football playoff. I think they're that good. I think the SEC gets 4 teams into the playoff, but I do think A&M would be that last team in. So I'm not saying they're going to dominate the conference or anything, and I think it could be a number of teams in the conference that gets that last seed. But I'm leaning A&M because I'm not really a believer in LSU. I think it's going to come down to who wins that game. Texas A&M at LSU. I realize they've never won at LSU since they joined the conference, but if they get that done, I think they're there. That Notre Dame game is another critical. Speaking of your toss-ups, Billy, I got Notre Dame as a toss-up, but I would lean towards Notre Dame because it's early in the year. It's at home, but hell, maybe Notre Dame is a little bit overrated too, based on what they did last year.
Still got a quarterback battle going on up there too.
Exactly. So again, that's by no means a gimme, but that's why I have it as a toss-up.
Yeah.
We mentioned LSU already. I think Florida. If DJ Lagway's healthy, I think that's a toss-up, but that's at home. I would lean A&M there. Auburn, same thing, and even at Missouri, and maybe at South Carolina. So yeah, there's a hell of a lot of toss-ups, I think.
Yeah.
For A&M, I think, man, you're just such a smart guy, Billy. But Marcel Reed, is he the guy? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in the weapons they have around him. Year 2 in Colin
What have I been
Klein's
telling you, Billy?
Yeah.
offensive system.
Weapons around him.
Yeah.
Weapons. And I think what's critical for Marcel is he's going into this year knowing he's that guy. Whereas last year it was more like, how easy is it to be fully engaged when you got a Connor Wigman who's entrenched as your starting quarterback? He was thrown into action. I don't know why people don't talk about this more. He was thrown into action on the road at Florida and whooped their ass.
Hour before kickoff.
Right. He was critical in A&M was getting their ass kicked by LSU until they threw him into the football game. And I realize A&M totally tanked the final month.
Yeah.
But how much of that was on Marcel Reed? I don't know. Last I checked, he left the bowl game with the lead against Southern Cal. Yeah. He hit, what was it, the running back or tight end? I can't remember, Auburn in the overtime, and the guy dropped it. Is that on Marcel Reed? And they got down 21-0. I don't think that had a whole lot to do with Marcel Reed. So I don't think he's the problem. I still don't. I'm not saying he's elite by any means, but I think he's probably an upper half, so a top 8 quarterback in this conference.
That's what Amanda was saying too. The weapons around him. She's been talking a lot about that, and I've been talking that up as well because Man, it is a different looking group of skill players. It really is. When you go Casey Concepcion, Mario Craver, a name to remember, Mike, in y'all's circles, because people outside of College Station don't know him. Ashton Bethel Roman, Amanda, you're familiar. You're both familiar. Mari Nyblack is here, and kind of a unique pass catching weapon. The tight end room has really improved, and we've talked a lot about the running backs. And I'll tell you, if there's a breakout freshman on this team, it might be Jamarian Morrow. So a tailback that might just force his way into carries because he's looked so good and explosive. So anyway, A&M will be one of that handful of teams, right, guys, that we've talked about at Atwell. Who is this year's Tennessee in the SEC? Who is that team? Because somebody's going to be this year's Tennessee. They're going to get in. And before we go, Mike, I just want to ask you this. Who's a team, just real quick, that's getting slept on? Who's a team, I'm talking about by the national and SEC media, who's a team that's overrated, and who's your pick for player of the year in the SEC?
Ooh. Being slept on the most out of the SEC, I think, well, probably A&M, but we've kind of talked to them ad nauseum. How about this? Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt, the offseason narrative that I hate the most is, well, Vanderbilt's not going to be able to sneak up on people this year. Well, they beat Alabama in the 5th game of the season last year. Yeah. So what happened the other 7? Well, everyone was still sleeping on them when they were beating Auburn on the road. I know Kentucky sucked, but they beat Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky was counting that as a win. Yeah. They didn't sneak up on people. They certainly didn't sneak up. Everybody's in love with Georgia Tech and Haynes King and Buster Faulkner and all them. They beat them in the bowl game too. Yeah. So it's not like they slept. They snuck up on everybody.
They're going to upset. They're going to beat somebody this year. That's for damn sure.
And they return a lot. We discussed this last week. I mean, I think that was one of mine too, of one that's underrated this year.
Yeah, I love Vanderbilt. Again, are they going to make the playoff? No, hell no. But could they win 8 games? I mean, I think it's possible. The way they play, I think Vanderbilt's getting slept on the most. Who's overrated? I'll give you 2. I've kind of already talked about LSU. I think you'll appreciate that, Billy.
I agree with you.
I don't get the hype. Brian Kelly, very, very, very good coach is what I call him. Is he an elite coach? Hell no, he's not an elite coach. And I think LSU people are buying into the fact that LSU, by these recruiting services on 24/7, what have you, give them the number 1 portal class. But there's context there. This was not a good portal class, not like years past. So again, it's good that you got the number 1 class, but it's not the same as getting it in years past. I really don't think. I don't like the offensive line for LSU. I don't particularly like the receivers. Everybody's enamored with their receivers. The guy at Kentucky, Barron Brown, couldn't catch the ball. Nick Anderson was good his first year at Oklahoma. He can't stay on the field. He's even getting hurt at LSU. So I don't think you're just plugging those guys in and they're going to be all world or anything for LSU. And I still got serious questions about their defense. So I think they're overrated. And I think Ole Miss is really overrated too. I think people are just giving them the benefit of the doubt because of Lane Kiffin and Pete Golding, which those are 2 outstanding coaches. But I don't think you can replace. They're the exact opposite of Vanderbilt. They are replacing everybody. They're dead last in returning production on offense and defense in this conference. So I think Ole Miss takes a big step back.
All right, and then Amanda, so like I said at the beginning, Mike, I don't remember what did Casey Smith say today, Amanda? Unlucky
that
for me.
She doesn't know how I do it or something like that?
No, it was like unlucky for you or whatever she said to me, just because of, getting everything pulled and bookmarked because I
don't know if you're familiar with our segment called Retweet or Delete, but we're going to have a special edition for you today.
Yeah, so get ready, Mike, because I don't know what she's got, but it's always good.
We've got 2 for you here. So I'm going to read these to you, and you're going to tell me if you would like to retweet these now, if you're going to stand on it, or if you'd rather go back and delete this tweet. Now, it's okay. Billy's had to suck up his pride on these a little bit.
Sometimes.
So this first one is from September 2nd of 2023. I'm not trying to overreact here, but Texas A&M may win the national championship with Connor Wigman slinging it in this Bobby Petrino offense.
Well, like I said, I was trying not to overreact there. So, whoops, I missed on both of those, didn't I? I mean, but hey, Bobby Petrino is doing a decent job at Old Arkansas.
I didn't pick a championship, but I have an infamous tweet where I do have Petrino. I have a Petrino greater than Sark that the Longhorns
You also
love
have
to
one that
pull
says
up.
Mullen greater than Sark as well.
No, I think I said they should have hired Mullen instead of Sark.
Yeah. I think I found one that I was doing a search today, and I think I found one that also said Mullen greater than Stark. So maybe you have two.
God. What's his second one?
Second one he actually addressed earlier in this show already is from December 30th, 2022. I don't think Sark makes it to see the transition to the SEC.
Yeah, whoops. Swing and a miss on that one. You know what?
Amanda, we really do dress together, Mike. We must compare outfits because last week the exact.
I feel like I've seen these before somewhere, and they're on his Twitter as well.
What did I say last week? I was like, get back to me if and when Sark reaches year 5.
So I got back to him.
We were, we were exactly. We were 1 year off.
I don't delete tweets, so I'll leave those up forever so they can be. I can be publicly shamed and flogged or what have you. But I mean, that's not even the worst. I mean, I've put out some wild ones. I went viral a couple months ago. I mean, these people dig. I
try to not pull the viral the ones that have already gone viral. I try to find the ones that have like 1 or 2 likes that nobody's seen in
hadn't
years.
seen the light of day.
Bring them back up.
Well, that's what happened to me too, because I said I can't remember it word for word, but you gotta have context, right? So this was 2015, I think, where Tennessee under Butch Jones was heating up. Florida, Jim McElwain, I think they had gone back-to-back SEC championships, and Georgia hired Kirby Smart, and South Carolina hired Will Muschamp. And I said, with Kirby in Athens, Tennessee and Florida are going to run the SEC for the next decade. And that recently got discovered about a month ago. And that did not go over well with Old Dog Nation.
I've learned to just
imagine so.
I've learned to just wear it, especially on this show and dealing with her. And as Casey said, there's nobody better at receipts than you in the entire world. It's terrifying. Sorry for your luck, Billy Liucci. Sorry for your luck, Michael Bratton. But we appreciate all the insight, all the fun. Love talking with you always. You know that. And you and I will be catching up regularly this fall as well. So looking forward to it, buddy.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And thank you for the retweets. I do appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
No problem.
I'll
make sure to save anyone's in the future.
Tell Shane I'm thinking about him. I'm still pissed. I might go have some
These hard times.
Might go have some chicken and dumplings tonight. All right, buddy. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, he's SEC Mike. Welcome back to episode 6. I'm Billy Liucci.
And I'm Amanda Atwell, and this is Moving Goalposts.
I always want to say we are moving goalposts, but you will never let me say that without.
No, you are moving goalposts. The goalposts belong in the end zones, Billy. I don't know if you knew that.
I've moved them a few times this week, and we have a lot to
They're
talk
like
about.
in the Brazos River now, I guess.
We've just thrown those things. I'm trying to think if A&M's ever torn down. I don't remember Texas A&M ever tear. I've seen some big wins at Kyle Field, so hold your joke.
When's the last time they stormed the field? Alabama?
There was like a soft storming after a win.
That sounds sad.
Yeah, I hated it because
Like
A&M,
just a couple people trickle and like security guards hit them, and then
it was like people just kind of walked onto the field. It was like people just started when A&M beat LSU. First of all, just for the LSU people that love to hate us and listen, it was because A&M beat that ass so badly.
Oh boy!
Yeah, it was 38-23. A&M's
what was LSU ranked?
top 5. It was Brian Kelly's first year. They needed that win. They were going to have a chance at the playoffs, and
what was A&M ranked?
4-7, and they beat LSU by 15.
Okay, then I was about to say if A&M was ranked as well, and they stormed the field for that, I would have found you a little bit there. But that's valid.
A&M's the interesting thing about the Aggies in LSU rivalry. They beat Jaden Daniels and they beat Joe Burrow both at Kyle Field, and then both of them went on to win the Heisman the next season. So I think the people in Baton Rouge are like kind of putting an asterisk by Nussmeier's loss to A&M last year by the same score. But we
It's
didn't.
gonna be a scary game
Yeah,
this
it
year
is.
for you guys.
And we'll talk about that in a minute. So let's start just real quick. Fall camps, all the conversation in College
Are we gonna
Station
talk
and
about
Austin.
our best friends over at La Casa though?
We do always start with that. You're right. And you know
Yes.
what? I forgot because I don't have my bottle this week because it's at
I
my
got it.
house. Always, always brought to you by our good friends at
La Casa Tequila. Unfortunately, I do not have my margarita today because I was sprinting here from a physical therapy appointment.
You ran out of time.
I did.
But you
I mean, that would have
never.
probably helped how I feel after that physical therapy appointment, but
Was that your first one?
it was my
Post-surgery.
second one. And this one was I did squats for the first time probably since mid-June.
Oh, wow.
And that did not feel great on the kneecap. So, but we're getting there. I can almost fully straighten my leg again. So progress.
Just keep working on those pull-ups where they've got me pegged for being able to do
I'm
one.
at 4.
They
So
got me at 1. I'm like, what are y'all? The lowest bar of expectation is wild
wait,
to
are
me.
you doing chin-ups or are you doing pull-ups?
I'm doing no, on this one I'm doing like that.
That's a chin-up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chin-ups are easier than pull-ups,
Yeah,
by
I'm
the way.
like 6 or 7. I was doing pull-ups and then I started getting like tennis elbow. So I stopped and
The old man can only do so much.
Right. Well, we're about to do. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna end up doing 8 instead of 1. So just be ready.
Okay.
La Casa,
Okay,
though.
I'll do 10 then.
Okay. Fine. And I'm trying to think of what kind of bet I would make on that of you doing 10 pull-ups, but and me not doing 10. La Casa Tequila would be in order after either one of us attempted 10 pull-ups. I think just to numb the pain.
My
So
biceps would be shredded.
so yeah, go check it out. Try it. I think, and my favorite's the Reposado.
Same. That's what I make. I make most margaritas with that. When I've kind of started doing this thing. I don't know if you know, but spritzes are really popular this
Yeah.
summer. This might be just a very toxic trait for me, but I've started switching out the prosecco with tequila. Bit harder hit there, but
Yeah.
it's very, very good. So I made like a little limoncello spritz, but with tequila. And I think it's Grant's new favorite drink, and we drank half the bottle of Blanco in one night on that.
I feel like you're in the Aperol Spritz capital of the world. Like it's been on like a couple of TV shows, so every girl in Dallas
Hugo
wants to.
Spritz now, Billy. Come on.
What's
You got to keep up with the times. Hugo Spritz elderflower liqueur instead, and like a
Aperol
nice
Spritz
little
is like 2 years
lime.
ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a little late here.
Hey, the fact that I'm within 2 years, give me a little credit here.
Yeah, Billy hasn't been to Italy lately. Forgive him.
No, I haven't. But I am going to Jackson Hole, so wish me luck.
Just basically the same thing.
The Grizzlies are out right now, so
Apparently.
keep me in your thoughts. Okay, so fall camp is what everyone's talking about, right? And from Austin to College Station to Norman to Baton Rouge, everywhere. But we talk mainly maroon and white and burnt orange here. So what's the latest buzz coming out of camp? I think here in College Station, man, I'll tell you this as we sit here today. Marcel Reed has had a really nice camp. And we talked last week about people panicking over like warm-up videos. He has strung together some really nice practices, including last week, I think maybe his best since arriving at A&M. I'm talking about throwing the football. You know, they're not cutting him loose and running in camp, neither is Texas and Arch down there. But as a passer, he has been on those. You've talked about it a lot, Amanda, those receiving targets. Casey Concepcion, Mario Craver, the Mississippi State transfer, Ashton Bethel-Roman, Amari Nyblack, Terry Bussey has been making, I think, more and more plays each day as camp goes on. So this has been really exciting from the offensive standpoint, just to watch things start to click there. And if I'm going to say this, because we go quick through this, if I'm looking for a breakout player, I've been talking up Marco Jones on the defense, right? The defensive end. Mm-hmm. The freshman on offense, it's crazy with Le'Veon Moss, Reuben Owens, Amari Daniels, all proven. Man, Jamarian Morrow, the freshman running back out of Memphis. Remember that name. He's so explosive. I know last year at this time nobody was talking about Trey Wisner, and you saw what he did for Texas. this running back is
People
special.
had to start talking about him because Baxter got hurt and then our other running back got hurt. So Wisner's next man up, and Baxter's who we'll primarily talk about for the Texas camp. I don't know if you saw, he had an interview today where they were talking to him about coming back from the ACL tear. Yeah, and I don't know if you're familiar with CJ Baxter's girlfriend, Mia Scott, who is on the national championship softball team, but she played that national championship game, and I think a couple games before, I think she tore her ACL a little bit earlier I can't remember exactly when she tore it, but she played through on a torn ACL. And in the press conference after practice, I believe it was today, he said, this is his quote, "She won a national championship and one of her trophies is in my room, and she lets me know I have to go out and win one as well," because he is coming back from an ACL tear as well. So, I mean, you can't have a better girlfriend rooting for you there and telling you, suck it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Better play, you better recover and do what you're supposed to do.
In Texas, both Texas and A&M, some interesting position battles going on with some names that everybody's familiar with. But I know as far as the Aggies go, I think the most interesting ones will be just kind of the jockeying for playing time in the secondary. The opposite corner spot of Will Lee, the blanket, that's a nice battle over there between guys like Des Ricks and Julian Humphrey. I think you probably see both the Alabama and Georgia transfer over there, but I think Ricks is having a really nice camp. And then I'm trying to think of another. I don't know that it's necessarily there's not a lot of position battles going on at A&M right now. QB2 is very interesting between Miles O'Neill and the UAB transfer and veteran Jacob Zeno, San Antonio native. So that's obviously a really important battle. And then I would say offensive line, it's not, we've talked about all that depth. They're just doing some interesting shuffling with Trey Zune sometimes working at center. You know, their most tenured offensive lineman kind of making that move from left tackle to center. So that's interesting to kind of monitor and see how much of that are we going to actually see this fall, because that would be a significant shakeup. In Austin, I guess there's a couple of them, right, that you and I talked about?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously there's certain places that Texas is pretty set at as far as position goes, but I feel like offensive weapons, especially like wide receivers, there's a lot of young wide receivers that I think could get playing time this year. You have Jamie French, you have Khalil Lockett, and then the transfer Emmett Mosley.
Yeah, Mosley, I think it's how it.
Mosley.
Stanford.
So it should be interesting who's a real standout there, as well as there's been a lot of talk about Parker Livingstone during camp. And then obviously Ryan Wingo is that number one wide receiver that people are looking at, but just the supporting cast around him, it should be really interesting because it's packed with young talent.
I feel like everybody forgets about Moore, though. Moore made some plays
DeAndre
last
Moore.
year.
Yep.
He made, and I know, like, I wouldn't say
he was kind of an underrated because he was just, everybody was looking at Golden so much.
Yeah.
Golden and Isaiah Bond, those were who you were watching, but he did make some really clutch plays.
I just think if there's a guy like he's one that he always jumped out at me when I was watching Texas, and like you say, he wasn't the most talked about guy in that room for obvious reasons. And then I guess the bigger battles over there, again, like A&M and Texas, Elko and Sark, you know, and obviously one team's ranked number one. They're not going to have too many question marks. I know that O-line is just still trying to be sorted out, much like A&M's
I mean, the O-line
D-line.
is it's just the depth is like, I mean, Sark said it, he'd have better luck finding a right tackle at the co-op than he would in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
It's difficult right now, but I think that'll be the telling thing. If they can get it together on O-line, I think Texas will be pretty scary, but it's interesting right now.
I think the most, you got Muhammad at one corner, who's, A&M tried desperately to get him a few years ago, 5-star out of Dallas. And the other corner, it's a lot like A&M, like the corner battle opposite the proven guy, and it's Gilbo, a veteran, against, and Kobe Black going at it. Another guy A&M went hard at, all three of those actually. And then, for Texas, it's the O-line rebuild, and you're not going to know it till you see it. And it's going to determine, I think, whether they go to the playoff, whether they advance deep, make a run in a national title or not. And for A&M, if they can kind of do, and SEC Mike's going to talk about this later on the show, if A&M can be that surprise team that gets in, it's very similar to what Texas in that they D-line was the strength of their team last year, and they got decimated by graduation and attrition there. So they're trying to rebuild over there. So they're kind of mirror imaging each other, which is interesting, especially with one guy being the offensive coach, the other guy being the defensive coach. Both quarterbacks, you go, what is their ceiling this year? We know what their potential is. What do they actually go out and do? Man, I just feel like, Amanda, it's going to be a really fun year. And I think
I mean, I got to say, I'm looking at the Texas projected depth chart right now for defense, and I do not have any concerns personally.
You know, I don't want to go into this with you because you'll crush the whole, you'll bring up.
I think you just need to look into it before you talk.
Yeah, well, I have. So now we have. So
Okay.
I hope you're happy. We have research.
This is what you do. You research the argument and then you present it.
I had already researched it, but I forgot I forgot I was running into the lawyer here, the litigator. But what I said 10 to 15. God, I hope I'm right. I don't expect to be, but God, I hope I'm right. It will be the most fun end of season ranking. But no, I think they're going to be really damn good on defense. I think it'll be interesting to see all that portal stuff on the inside. How, I know right now people are fired up, but I'll say this, and people do this to me all the time. It is camp, and they are going against a rebuilt Texas offensive line that is your team's biggest question mark. Same thing for A&M. If I see them running the ball well in practice, and I'm going, well, damn, yeah, that's because they have a great offensive line and great running backs. But then in the next sentence, I'm saying, hey, my concern is how have they rebuilt the defensive line? So sometimes in camp, it can be misleading. That's my only concern on that defense. And my second one is Makuba and the Thorpe Award winner. How much did they, plus Michael Taft, how much did that combination lead them to be so elite back there this year? And when you break up that combination, can you just replace the pieces? I think so, because
Michael Taft is still there.
Yeah, I know, but I also think they will, because that talent is so good that they're replaced. So I think when you break up that continuity and that chemistry and that combination.
Well, the thing is, the returner, there is only, in the depth chart currently, there are 3 transfers in first and second string and 1 freshman. Everyone else is a returner of some sort. That is, even if they weren't a starter last year, they're a returner of some sort. So there's depth retention there.
And a ton of talent.
And I think that's something to consider. I mean, Ethan Burke, Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill, Michael Taft, Malik Muhammad, Jelani McDonald. Is that a defense that you're going to be nervous to go up against?
I mean, it depends. Yes.
Oh, it depends.
It's going to be one of the best defenses.
Just go listen to Anthony Hill mic'd up that the Longhorns released.
Anthony Hill's stud. Again, we go back. I think A&M. You got Kwiatkowski and Elko, 2 of the best defensive minds in college football. Elko taking a more hands-on approach. I'll say this: if there's a couple things that stand out to me, I mentioned it earlier. It's the pass catchers, receivers, and tight ends. The improvement there. But the second thing, you notice the Mike Elko impact on the defense and the second year in the system, because that is the biggest difference to me. Those guys are flying around and they're striking people, and they're playing like a group that knows what they're doing. And we've talked about this with Sark in year 4 last year. You notice that, the year 3 and year 4, those tangible jumps. So anyways, a lot of fall camp to talk about. We'll do it one more time next week, and then guess what?
And we can finally stop talking about practices and talking about games.
Game week. Let's go. So speaking of the games, Amanda, let's transition to this. Quick schedule talk. We're not going to break down every single game. We will pick our season records before the season, but not to go through every single hypothetical game, because as you know, that will take me an hour. So let's dive in. You got the list in front of you.
Yes.
What are your must-win? Just kind of pick out a couple of games that you go, they have to win this game. This is the potential season changer, and this is the trap that worries me.
Okay. So my must wins this year, I mean,
Or a stretch of games, whatever you pick.
must win. There's a stretch that I think, a stretch of two back to back games that I think are going to be very, very critical for the trajectory of the season. And they're not very, but pretty early in the season. Florida and OU. You go on the road to the Swamp.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, at least when they're going on the road to the Swamp, they're prepared to go on the road to the Swamp this year. It's not a little raggedy Florida team everybody's anticipating
Yeah.
there. Texas, I mean, we'll talk about this later. Texas historically has a pretty decent record when they're going on the road to a hostile environment. But follow that up with an OU team that supposedly is much improved.
Yeah.
An OU team that is definitely looking for redemption for being the doormat of the SEC in their first year and having everybody say, we wish we just didn't. I mean, maybe this was just me, that we just went to the SEC and left OU in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So I think OU definitely a more challenging game this year. That's a low bar.
Yeah, I was
for
about
what
to
it
say,
was
yeah.
last year. And like I said last episode, I'm not exceptionally high on OU, and the reasoning for this, it's funny to me because I got a lot of, if you ever get angry OU fans in your comments, I send my condolences. I
Nasty.
think I get some angry Aggies, but there is nothing. I feel like there's, for the most part, a little sense of just like humanity behind most Aggies. OU fans, they will go for the jugular and
Yeah.
not even care, even if it does not make sense whatsoever, which most of the time it does not. But the thing is, OU fans love to dog the fact that Texas used to think like, oh, after a 8-5 Herman season, whatever it was, they were ranked going into the preseason. People were
Yeah.
high on them. Texas fans were high on them. What's happening this year? We have the worst OU team in however many decades
Brutal.
coming into a season where they're supposed to be better, and OU fans are overly critical about anybody that's underestimating. You were doing the exact same thing to Texas however many years ago. When I was a Texas fan in that position, I said, I don't think Texas has deserved the hype. They have not proven that. Sure, you can see all this in fall camp. Does it transition to the field? Who knows? But last year, nothing transitioned to the field. So why is this team getting the benefit of the doubt right now? And also in this transfer portal era, looking at OU's roster, Mike, I think this will be later on the show, said it. This was not a
He was
great
talking about
transfer portal.
LSU, yeah.
But LSU, but you can also apply that to OU. This was not a good transfer portal class. And I think I listed out where all of these players in OU's transfer portal class was coming from. And they're not really names of schools that you would consider to be ultimately challenging. I'm sure most of them are very talented players. Regardless, they were key pieces on those teams. But are they going to be able to step up and play to SEC speed immediately and fit in with a completely new offense flawlessly?
Listen
So
to
there's
you.
my question marks with OU. But then enough on OU. I think home game against A&M is a must win. I think that is a must win for Texas. It's a home game. They haven't won a very high stakes home game in years. And depending on how A&M's season could go, if it's anything like last year, this will be a very high stakes game, especially if A&M is better, like you say they are, than they were last year. And then
I heard
think
you
they
throw that
have
in
to
there.
they have to get either OSU or Georgia.
Okay.
I think one of those. I think one of them you can drop and still be fine, but I think you have to get one of those this year. They're both road games, both very tough environments, but I think, and then also I'm just personally of the opinion that a less number of wins than last year is a regression. So that's why my floor is, what did I say my floor was?
You said your floor was 10-2.
10 and
Floor.
2. That's floor. That's like I'm kind of disappointed, honestly.
Look, okay, so we're talking about two different things because the floor to me look, everybody's floor is a disastrous season with the wrong injuries. We all know that. That goes without saying. So we're not really talking about that when we talk about a floor.
Okay, so floor would be losing, I would say, OU, A&M, OSU, and Georgia. That would be the absolute floor for Texas for me. I think don't think they could physically lose more than that personally.
No.
And I might jump off my balcony if that is the case.
Yeah. Do you live on the second floor? Is it high enough to hurt yourself? Or
It's only the third floor. I'd probably survive.
Okay.
There's bushes.
You'd hurt your knee, I'm sure. We definitely know
Who
that
needs
would
those
happen
anymore?
But no, listen. I'm with you, and I think I don't think they're going to approach that floor. I could certainly see them. Look, we can talk for. We have talked the whole offseason about Arch Manning. I think going into battle, if you asked me and said, "Hey, you are not," you're going to erase all bias here, and I'm going to ask you a simple question: Arch Manning, Julian Sayin, Gunnar Stockton, who do you want to go to battle with in a game? And I'm going to say Arch. So, I mean, that right there makes you go, they can get one of those. They could get either of those, which means you could get both of those. I don't think they will because they're both on the road. But like you said, a split, man, and you're feeling really good, and I know nobody wants to hear that, but then you also would have a mulligan somewhere along the way, whether that's at Florida, whether that's if a strong A&M team came in
the
there.
benefit to Texas last year is they didn't have that mulligan, which was rare for Texas because they have had that mulligan historically every single season.
So you're saying Texas,
except for the Big 12 season.
I had an issue.
But also, my last one was Texas Trap game.
Yeah.
Did I mention that?
No, go with
You'll
that.
like this one. I think the Texas Trap game is A&M.
Okay, yeah. It's
I think
interesting
that's
you
one
say
because-
that about a rivalry, but I get it.
It's because I mean you're going into it. It's similar to when Texas played. I compared it to when Texas played TCU a couple years ago. That number 4 ranked TCU team. Texas went into that game very confident, and it's like they just sat on the ball the entire. I was so bored that game, and I was so pissed because just like it was a very low scoring game.
Yeah.
So yeah, one, it was boring. The offense could not do anything, and I just feel like there was so much hype going into it, and then they just and it was probably one of the best crowds I have ever seen at DKR for a game as well. The crowd was in it.
Yeah.
And it was just deflating. So if it's another game like that, but I think obviously A&M's a little bit bigger of a rivalry than TCU.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit more of the animosity in this rivalry. I think it is also a different mindset of a team now than it was back then.
For sure.
And also just the fact that Texas has not one of those big home games. I mean, I mentioned TCU. There was also Alabama, but that Alabama game was 1 point. Ewers doesn't get hurt. You can have all your theories. So yeah, I just think Texas and Georgia. Those were the 3 recent big home games. Texas did not win.
Yeah,
I think that's a trap game. I also think it could potentially be Vanderbilt. If Vanderbilt is if our little Rottweiler quarterback at Vanderbilt is who he was a couple of games last season, you never know. They beat Alabama, so you never know there.
Former A&M quarterback.
I think there's better chances that A&M would be the trap game.
Former A&M quarterback Eli Stowers, All-American tight end. Add him to the list of former A&M quarterbacks scattered around college football. Haynes King.
There's so many of them now.
Haynes at Georgia Tech, Connor at U of H, Jalen Henderson at West Virginia. You got Zach Calzada starting at Kentucky. I know I'm forgetting somebody. Somebody's yelling it right now, I'm sure. And then Eli Stowers, former A&M quarterback, is a starting tight end at Vandy. So Max Johnson's at North Carolina still. They are literally scattered about everywhere, including College Station. Look, you mentioned something. I'm going to talk about the A&M schedule real quick here, but before that, Texas hasn't won the big games at home like you've been talking about. And I saw a stat this week, and I thought it was such a bullshit.
Well, it's not even that it was a bullshit stat. It's the way it was phrased.
Yeah, it was
the way it was like one of those big. I hate those big, like, I don't know, like, you know how all the media sites are doing these days, like
the big word,
like the words, and they just say like one word, and I'm like, this is the equivalent of like I was a journalist for a very long time professionally of the TV stations that do it bleeds, it leads type content where it's like, oh, there was a murder downtown that's going first thing on the news because everybody will watch it. Yeah. Even if it's really not the most important thing of the day. So just had to do my little tangent with
Well,
those. I hate it.
okay, so here's my thing.
I think they're lazy too.
It's a disingenuous stat intended to either trigger or get, like you said, get engagement. A lot of people do it now. There's a group you and I talk and laugh about amongst ourselves quite often, and it's like their entire existence is to try to do that. But in this case of this particular stat, it's like A&M 2-9 in their last 11 on the road. And there's a picture of Mike Elko, and Texas 11-0 in their last 11 on the road. Okay, I'm going to say something. Really impressive to go 11-0 on the road ever anywhere. And one of those games was at Kyle Field, so I cannot sit here and talk too much shit, right?
But also, are we going to count the Georgia game? The SEC championship game is on the road?
No, they don't. They don't count those.
Okay.
But, and that's fair. But they won at A&M and they won at Alabama. And they won in the big house in Ann Arbor. So 3 of those, hell yeah. Now, I will say this. Their other SEC road games were Arkansas this year and Vandy. And the rest of those road wins came in the Big 12. So, yes, I am impressed when you stack Alabama, A&M, and Michigan as your top 3. That's enough for me. But that is a misleading stat to go 11-0. It's the longest road winning streak in the SEC when you've been in the SEC 1 year. And
if they aren't all if they aren't all SEC games, how can you?
Yeah, and then for A&M, it's the 2-9, and I'll say this: Jimbo Fisher had a 10-game road losing streak, and Mike Elko went 2-2 last year. Which again, it's not like, hey, let's throw a parade for 2-2 on the road. They were upset at Auburn, and they went and lost at South Carolina, but they also went into the swamp and won. And they went Mississippi State was bad. But Starkville
didn't go to Vanderbilt and lose like somebody else in the conference.
Yeah, Starkville's been a house of horrors for.
But
A&M.
I mean, Auburn isn't really. Great
no,
either.
they should have won. They should have beat Auburn. They should be 3-1. But here, my point is this: 2-9 looks terrible, and you put Mike Elko's picture to it, and it's like, well, yeah, he was there for 2-2, not 2-9. And Texas had a lot. They were a great team last year, but a lot of those wins. Point being, Longhorns will get a chance to back it up big time this year. Columbus, Gainesville, Athens, A&M has got to, just like Texas has to break through at home, the Aggies have to break through on the road to have any kind of, because you're at Notre Dame, you're in Austin, and you're at LSU. And oh, by the way, you're also at a Missouri team that won 10 last year, and you're at Arkansas. They better be a good road team this year. All this stuff we're talking about doesn't matter.
I know Fayetteville's toxic, but you better beat Arkansas, even if it's on the road.
I know.
I mean, that's you better win that game.
That is. You asked me. I actually left that off of my trap game.
Please, that should not be a trap game if you are a ranked team.
If A&M's to be a good team, that is. Tennessee would argue with you, but. You need to go win. That Arkansas team should be worse than last year's. My trap game, I'm going in reverse here. It's Missouri. It's going to that stadium in Columbia that still feels like a Big 12 atmosphere to me oftentimes. But that is a good football team that was pretty damn good last year. That I think they'll be good, not great this year. But Missouri's going to have a couple of nice wins. You don't want it to be you if you're A&M because they can't afford that with the brutally tough games, and that is the stretch that you were going to ask. That here's the rough stretch for A&M. There are 3 straight road games. It is Florida at home, followed by it goes Florida, at Arkansas, at LSU, where A&M has not won since joining the SEC. Bye week at Missouri. Those 4 weeks.
But you do have a bye week in between those, so that does help you out.
They've got to go, Amanda. I believe this, and this is that sums up the A&M schedule for me. They've got to go 3-1 in those 4. They go 3-1 in those 4, and then the other one that just stands out with just flashing lights all over it. We both know it. It's Notre Dame at night in South Bend in Week 3. You want to be on the map. You want to be considered a contender. Go into South Bend. They've got a quarterback battle still going on. They've had heavy turnover. Go up there and beat the team that played for the Natty last year.
I'm intrigued to see how that one goes.
I know.
I Honestly, I don't think I'll be picking A&M going into that one, but I would be impressed if it happened.
We will talk a
I would
lot
say,
about that.
Talking about road games, though, Texas does have a 4-game stretch for basically, the entire month of October. Texas does not play at home.
Yeah. A&M's got a
So-
similar, it's weird, both teams. Scheduling sucks.
Schedule was awful this year. I mean, I was looking at home games I can go to, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll go to San Jose State, and I'll catch you at, what is it, Arkansas later this season,
Yeah.
like in November.
Some of us aren't going to France for 2 weeks in the middle of the season.
Got to do what you got. I mean, I scheduled that over a bye week, and I scheduled it over Sam Houston.
Yeah, that's fair. That was smart planning on your part.
That being said, tune into the September 23rd episode, and I'll be in Nice, France for it.
That'll be a fun one. We need to get one of you in Nice, France, and then one here on the way back from Austin. So those will be 2 road shows for you this year.
Yeah,
Okay,
we can look out my beautiful view of the French Riviera while we do the podcast.
let's run it down. I think we're done there with that segment, and let's move on. We move on to around the conference real quick. Let's do a quick zip through because there's some news this week. Let's start in Norman.
Oh,
Let's
boy.
start in freaking Norman, okay?
Let's hope the OU fans don't find this one.
Well, John Mateer in the Venmo
this is-
history. What a wild story. And I'm going to tell you my opinion on it. But it
I'll
was
tell you I don't believe him for anything.
No, I don't either. But it was a fun just watching that panic session and that deflecting and, well, this person did it or he didn't do it or this was Texas fan dug it up and it's how petty of them.
Sure, a Texas fan dug it up.
Hey, it's the SEC.
you know
Welcome
what-
to the
this-
SEC.
You know what this is? This is the work of a psycho ex-girlfriend. Because you know what psycho ex-girlfriends do? They go through every single account they can find, including Venmo accounts, to see who you have been hanging out with.
That's true.
So maybe does John have a girl out there that really wanted to get back at him for something?
Maybe
I
it's
think that
he's
might be something that OU fans want to look into because I have had friends who look through Venmo transactions.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that I have not done the same myself.
Yep.
So you see who people are hanging out with through those Venmo transactions. If you're a boy wanting to do some shady things,
But do
should
you
probably
write
check those on Reddit.
write gambling or whatever it was that he wrote?
Exact. I'm like,
Like
Are-
use an
are you
emoji.
dumb?
Use an emoji or something. Even if it was a
Like,
bag, the bag of
if that
flying
was
money.
an inside joke, it's not a funny inside. Like, I don't care who you're. An inside joke of sports gambling the day of the game, the day after the game.
Yeah, I don't. I feel like it's like the 1990s and 80s. If you're like, oh my God, college
Yeah, I mean,
athlete bet on.
I don't care. I just think the thing is, the NCAA does care.
Yeah.
People may not care. The NCAA
Yeah,
cares.
you want your
don't
quarterback
go-
to play.
The thing is, you don't go Venmoing your friend with a little puff of smoke and some leaves, because that is dumb.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if people don't care, you don't bring
just-
attention to it. You don't bring this unwanted media circus to it in a time where you really just need positive energy for
I
your
just thought
program.
the 24-hour panic and the finger pointing and the let's lash out at
Full-on crash
everyone.
out.
It was pretty funny to watch. But by the way, I'm also glad that Mateer is going to be playing over something like that. I mean, bad judgment for sure.
You don't
Do I
think that
believe
there's
him?
going to be
No.
any kind of NCAA investigation that they do?
No, I think they're toothless in that regard these days, and I just think.
I mean, it's hard to prove too this far beyond it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's especially if he just denies, and everybody around him denies. What are you going to do?
And we talked about who is overrated in the league, and who isn't talked about enough. I'm gonna ask SEC Mike that. Give me your very quick, because we talk about this a lot. You notice how I'm keeping you on the clock now. Who is very quick? Who do you think's overrated, and who do you think people are sleeping on as we get closer to this season in the
Here,
Southeastern Conference?
you go first. I need to reevaluate my
Okay,
take
so
on
to
this.
me, I think LSU's overrated. I just,
You know that.
I absolutely, I don't think they're going to be bad, but I just think I'm looking at A&M and I'm listening to the chatter, and I'm looking at LSU and I'm listening to the chatter. Both teams were 8-4. A&M beat the brakes off of LSU, and they'll say it was just because they changed quarterbacks. I know for a fact it was because there was a fatal flaw in their defense that they were doing something new, and it caught A&M off guard in the second half. And it was a combination of Marcel's brilliance, but it was also a quarterback named Nussmeier, who's being talked about as the SEC Player of the Year and Heisman winner, threw 3 picks and a half at Kyle Field. And they should have been 7-5, but he had a pick 6 called back at the end of the game against South Carolina that would have ended that one too. So I just think they're relying too much on portal, and it's not like they were getting great players out of said portal. And I also think if you look at, I said this a couple weeks ago, you look at the playoff teams, and the model is to build from within and develop players within your system and supplement that with the portal, not blow it up and go everywhere else for players. So I don't trust it. I don't think they're going to suck. I think it's the second toughest game, third toughest game. No, I think it's the second toughest on A&M's schedule ahead of Notre Dame. But I just don't think that football team reaches the playoff, and that's where most people seem to have
You
them.
think it's the second toughest game next to Notre Dame?
No.
Are you missing another game?
Here we go. Get ready, everybody. I did not say that. I said.
Yes, you did.
No. If I did, it was wrong. Texas is the toughest. I started to say the third, but then I said, you know what? I think it's tougher than Notre Dame because I think LSU will, despite the interceptions. I think Nuss is a better quarterback than what Notre Dame will put out there. And I think Baton Rouge is a much tougher place to play. So I go Texas 1, LSU 2, Notre Dame 3. And
okay.
So with that said, that's
Thank you for correcting that.
My overrated, my underrated. I think I was considering going Auburn, but damn, when I watch Hugh Freeze throwing his clipboard down, watching Jackson Arnold continue to struggle in practice to make decisions and get rid of the football, and when I see that they have a different coach calling first down, second down, and third down plays, and then you saw Lane Kiffin retweet that and say, well, who calls fourth down? When I see all that, I'm like, they're off. And I know they're dangerous, and I'm not chalking up that they're off, though. I'm going Vandy, Amanda. I just think they're going to.
Agree there.
You too? I think they're going to upset somebody this year again. And I think they're going to win 7.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the SEC preseason poll of finish ranking, and they're 4th to last right now, and I think they do better than that.
Who's your overrated?
My overrated right now, I mean, I would say OU, but they're not technically ranked high at all.
Yeah.
They are straight middle bottom of the pack in the preseason rankings. I'm just looking at the SEC preseason poll, not the AP top 25. I'm going to go with Florida. I'm between Florida and South Carolina here, honestly.
Okay.
I just need to see a full DJ Lagway healthy season before I can be high on Florida. I do think it's easier for them to be better than they were last year because they had a lot of hiccups last year. But I mean, you keep hearing things about DJ Lagway twinging something again, and it just gives me reminiscent of Quinn Ewers continuing to get hurt and just continuing to just kind of not be able to be that player he was at Alabama. That if Quinn was that player that he was at the Alabama game, we'd be looking at a national championship trophy right now, very likely. For every game.
I don't disagree.
It was not the case last year. But also South Carolina, just looking at their schedule, it makes me. I'm not. They're predicted to finish 5th in the SEC, and just looking at their schedule, it's hard for me to just be high on that. One of my best friends went to South Carolina, so I'm so sorry, Kayla. But I think they're going to be are they going to be as good as last year? Who knows? But Vanderbilt, Mizzou, LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, A&M, finishing with Clemson.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
That's a gauntlet.
And they took a miracle to beat Mizzou last year, even that record of their good year.
Even with Clemson last year, that was a tough game for them to win.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on South Carolina. I think Sellers is Superman, and he's going to win. They might win a couple games that they couldn't have won that except for that guy. And I hope one of those isn't at Kyle Field. But I just don't think week to week. I think they lost too much on defense, and at running back, Rocket Sanders made so much happen for them last year as well. Let's rip through this one. One more thing, and then we'll move on to a certain topic before we close out. Ty Simpson gets the nod at Bama. Doesn't surprise anyone, right? Does that change anything for you, Amanda? You and I seem way apart on Bama because I have them winning the
on
SEC.
Bama than you think.
Okay.
Because I'm not low on Bama by any means. I just think, I mean, you've heard everything there is to say about Bama with the production they return. They're going to be a very, very good team. Their biggest question mark is quarterback position. My thing is, I just can't be quite as high. Like, I can't be high enough on Bama to win the SEC when they have a quarterback that is still battling for the position. I mean, he is that guy today, but what happens? It could be a very much a situation where you see a kind of two-man quarterback thing if something goes wrong. So that I can't confidently put them at winning the league at the end of the day. I do think they'd be top 4 minimum with what they return. It would be insane if they weren't. That would be a DeBoer problem at that point. But you probably know more about Ty Simpson than me, but just all things considered, I can't be overtly high on Bama just knowing that quarterback situation.
I think I give a lot of credit to DeBoer teamed with Ryan Grubb as his OC, which was the case at Washington, and they developed Penix, and they, you saw them, Texas fans saw them firsthand twice, and what that offense can do against really good Texas defenses. And now I know Penix was a different. I'm not comparing Penix to Simpson, so that's the question, right? That's the question, but I think my other question mark for Bama is their defensive line. They return that back 7, and I think it'll be like, hey, is this a truly elite defense? Because that's what I think it's going to be. And if they can be elite defensively, just have someone get the ball. Just have someone get the ball to Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard at wide receiver, and they could do some great things. So we'll see. I don't think they're going to be the best team in the SEC. I think it's going to be Texas.
To win?
Do what?
Didn't you pick them to win the league?
Yes, but I think they're going to get into
But you don't think they're going to be the best team in the SEC?
You see why I'm saying this. I think Texas might have the best record in the SEC through in 8 games. Maybe they're 7-1. Maybe Georgia and Alabama are tied at 6-2. Maybe it's a 3-way tie. Maybe the Aggies get in there. But I think Bama, Texas play. That's my pick to play in Atlanta. And I just think we get another DeBoer over Sark thing. And Texas, and if they both went to the playoff, I would probably pick Texas to advance further. So do you see where I'm coming from with that?
My thing is with that, I don't know. I'm a big fan of the chip on your shoulder mentality of and there's a lot of those situations that Texas gets to readdress. I mean, the Georgia situation, I think, is the biggest one this season that Texas gets to readdress. So I'm just very intrigued to see how that goes as far as are they going to let Georgia say that they were three-peating?
Ohio State as well. They got a bone to pick there too, right?
Yeah, big bone to pick right out the bat 2 weeks from now.
Okay, but speaking of, is Texas the next Bama?
I mean, you saw my take about this that's one of my biggest tweets of the week about that. The insaneness of that. And that's my beef with things like this. Is The Athletic puts out an article like that, and then all of the yappers of all of the fan bases that obviously love to clown the bad ones in the Texas fan base. All Texas fans are saying they're the next Alabama. No, some dude at The Athletic typed that out to meet a deadline for some clickbait he needed to.
By the way, I love a good mock voice. Nothing will ever make me smile more than that voice that you did. I love a good mock voice from anyone. But go ahead.
If you're stupid enough, you might get one from me.
I will, sure. I have. What the hell are you talking about? Like every week.
But anyway, it's just, no, Texas is not the next Bama. There might not be a next Bama with this current NIL situation.
Well,
I don't think is there any team could step up in this NIL portal in a way that was not capable when Bama was Bama. And that is just like Bama being Bama at their pinnacle is such a massive mountain to climb. If you had to pick a team that was on the trajectory to maybe be the next Alabama, that'd be one thing that would be a reasonable discussion.
It's Georgia and Kirby, and they won't get like. I don't understand. Like you said, why do we have to do this? It's not about it being Texas. We do it in every sport, pro, college.
There's nothing to talk about because it's talking season. There's no sport.
Yeah.
There's no games to actually.
There's not going to be another Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. I love, my guys in Kansas City. They're not going to do what the Patriots did over that period of time. We've never seen it before. We won't see it again. There's not going to be what Nick Saban did at Alabama. No one had done it before in modern time, and especially no one's going to do it now. Amanda, with the portal, with NIL, with other teams being able to get players now that used to be reserved for maybe just a top 5 group in college football at any given time. I just don't see it happening anymore. If anyone's close to it, it's Georgia, and I don't think they're going to get there. What do they have, 2? He's got
Georgia,
7.
I feel like Georgia's definitely closer to it right now as well, because I mean, Sark has been in the rebuilding process. He's finally getting the fruits of the labor from the rebuilding process. But Georgia has some trophies to point at.
Yeah.
So even though they haven't last year got knocked out of the playoffs before people thought they would, they're still closer than Texas, in my opinion. Now, if they have a major drop off this year, then I think that's a new conversation.
Yeah.
But until they completely miss the 12-team college football playoff, I think that's who you have to look at when you're if you're going to post that article.
Gunnar Stockton, baby. Gunnar Stockton.
I don't know if I believe in him quite yet.
I do not. All I remember is going tough kid, eaten alive by Notre Dame, and should have thrown a game-losing pick 6 in the SEC title game.
Yeah.
Thank God he didn't, because you would be even more unbearable.
I have a tweet for that, but man, I'm so sad. I only got to use half of that. Of you act like 5 loss. It was something like you act like 5 loss. Sark is gonna win the Big 12 and the SEC back to back. Well, they did half of that.
Oh, that would have been a bad one. I didn't think about that. That would have been
obliterated.
That would have been. Oh,
I
God.
still have it saved, just in case they win it in year 2.
Yeah, it would still be usable, but not quite the impact of
the bite that you like.
All right. Well, speaking of moving goalposts, retweet or delete. My moving goalpost of the week was just laughing about the OU thing. They moved it. They were just quickly moving it around, like, oh my God, well, you did this, they did that. Well, who cares? And that was just funny to watch. I think I had a tweet. I have it
saved. I'm looking at it.
What was it? It was something where I was like, it didn't come off the way I wanted.
So we were talking about the Sark iceberg. So one of Bill. Well, we should also talk about with retweet or delete. One of our friends on Twitter asked for the worst Sark takes that they had ever seen, and guess what? I have a whole file of them.
you listed like a few, and it was probably half of them.
Yes, but one of my favorites is SS Sark headed right into the iceberg.
Can you admit something? Can you admit something? Can you admit that you like it because it's kind of funny? You're like, that's actually pretty clever. It's pretty good, and it's even better that it backfired. But
no, I only like it because it backfired. I would not like it if it didn't backfire.
You're the worst. Go ahead, read it.
SS Sark heading straight to the SEC championship game in year 1.
So what did I say?
You said, you were referring to this tweet. That was meant for 2 things. The upcoming season, I just missed it as Texas was 8-5. And yes, the SEC iceberg that was looming in the distance.
Yeah. And
I responded, guess climate change came faster than we thought it would in regards to the iceberg. And then you said, it melted, due in large part to the fact you guys had 3 years to prepare or recruit before joining the league versus A&M's one. I don't know. I would have preferred Johnny Manziel rather than 3 years to prepare.
That's fair. That's That's very
But yeah,
fair.
that was a big old goalpost move. Like, oh, well, you had all these years to prepare. I think we just had one.
You're doing the voice. It took you 4 minutes to do the. You said I might do it on you, and here we are one day. No, I agree. I would Johnny. That's a great point of Johnny, Mike, and all NFL O line, and yeah, that was. That's I don't know what to say there. That was a good point. I do think. I think I've said it before. That runway though was really beneficial, but I saw one team take advantage of it and one team not. So because of that, I don't really lean into it very much. I moved the goalposts there, but I don't lean into it very much because if Texas and OU had come in like that together, I would have been like, man, this is a lot different. You had all this time. No,
Yeah.
because one team.
Oh, you really kind of.
No matter
I'd
what
say
they do this year, they were not prepared for the league when they came in. There's no question
Not at
about
all.
that. Finally,
Okay,
what do you got?
retweet or delete. We got 2 this week. I'm not really killing you with them this
Okay,
week, but I
thank
think
God.
they're better than last week. So
Go ahead.
you didn't seem excited there. Why not?
Listen, I love the retweet or delete. It is the most fun thing. People enjoy it. The people that
Some people enjoy it.
No, 95% of
I
people
will say
enjoy
we
it.
do have a commenter on YouTube that was like, I really wish Billy would just like try to find one of these for Amanda one day. And I told him, I was like, well, I've encouraged Billy to do just that. And you know what? He hasn't been able to do it
I
yet.
have a very
so.
busy schedule. Okay, I don't have time to go digging.
Okay, the guy who was shopping at North Park in Dallas on Tuesday.
Whoa, don't out me. Yeah, I was. Random. It's
anyways.
preseason shopping. I had to buy clothes.
Yeah. Okay. And you can do that online. You don't have to drive to Dallas. I don't even go shopping at North Park in Dallas.
I have a stylist. We
Okay. Yeah. Jesus.
Go
Anyways.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. We're rolling the clocks back to 2021.
Okay.
July 24th of 2021.
I like to take myself. Okay, July of 21, after A&M disappointing finish. I think they were both around 8-4. But go ahead. 21.
It was
season.
after the COVID season. This was after the 2020 season.
So yeah, no, I'm feeling good then. Go ahead. This should be good.
You're feeling real good, according to this tweet. Okay. So you're quote tweeting somebody, but I think that this person deleted their Twitter because it just says the user handle or something. It's incredible to see the lengths these people, quote, Longhorns, much more so than Sooners, end quote, will go to convince themselves that the SEC gauntlet is a myth, like refusing to acknowledge last year's conference-only schedule in a COVID season, which would never happen again.
Okay. Is that it?
That's your tweet.
First of all, I love the use. Anytime I can drop a "you people" on a fan base, I just feel like
you said these people, not you people.
But like I'm proud of that line. That because that gets everybody.
But then you went into year one and told us the SEC gauntlet was a myth.
So the gauntlet thing, yeah, I contradicted the hell, but we know why, and we've gone so many rounds on this schedule thing. I can't. But here's the deal. That one I kind of stick to because A&M that year, and I've said this before, everybody wants to say, well, A&M's only year was a COVID, but then they also want to go, they haven't won 10 games since whenever. There's a couple things about COVID that year that people don't talk about enough if you want to minimize and marginalize. Jimbo had a really good team built up that year with a ton of seniors.
That's the one year I've been to Kyle Field and watched a game.
That's right. And you watched
and
them.
I was so happy because there were so many less people there.
You had room to spread out. You probably.
And I didn't have to hear the.
Knowing
Aggies.
you probably wore burnt orange to an A&M South Carolina game.
Cream colored. They're playing Arkansas, so I'm not about to wear red either.
Yeah.
So I wore like a white, like cream colored sweater. It was kind of cold. And jeans, and then my Longhorn Lou Casey boots. And I got a compliment on those while I was at the concession stand.
I was right. So it doesn't matter that you didn't wear burnt orange.
It wasn't loud, though. I wasn't being loud about it and obnoxious about it.
That's fair. Now, and you watched A&M beat Arkansas. Here's my thing. That year, the Aggies went 9-1, their game against Ole Miss got canceled, who was not a good Ole Miss team, and it was at Kyle Field. They would have been 10-1 that season. They won a New Year's Six Bowl, and everybody goes, well, it was COVID. They replaced Fresno, Colorado, and North Texas on the schedule with at Tennessee and a top 5 Florida team. That A&M team with Kellen as a senior and all NFL senior O-line, that team on the schedule they were going to play, because all the other teams that were on the schedule they beat, that team would have gone 11-1 with a loss to Bama. The other COVID thing that happened that year, Trevor Lawrence got COVID, could not play against Notre Dame. They upset DJ Ungalele and Clemson in like double, triple overtime in South Bend. Clemson with Trevor Lawrence in the ACC title game beat them by like 30 points. And so Trevor Lawrence getting COVID is why Notre Dame got into the college football playoff over A&M. So if everybody wants to say that.
If you really tried, you could go back and find a tweet of mine that said after the college football playoff teams came out, I posted, I would be really pissed if I was an A&M fan right now. So there you go.
Give us our last one, because what you just did is like, you literally said, Luch, I'm going to come on here every week until you have some ammo. And my ammo, I've already resigned myself to the fact it's not going to be against you. It's just going to be like A&M related stuff.
Being successful.
Yeah, and it's going to be like, okay, I said this, but so it's not going to be you. But what you just said is, I'll give you a bookmark, Billy. You're looking for one. Here's one, except it's one that makes me look good. So, like,
well,
how does it work?
Does that make you look good, though, that you are...
No, it makes you look good. I'm saying you're like, here's a bookmark from me, Billy, except it's one that makes me look good.
I mean, why would I do something that makes me look bad? That's weird.
Last one. Let's hear it. Only 2 this week. I feel really... You know where I'm about to go from here? As we're recording, I'm going to go watch A&M soccer. So you'd enjoy that. I'm going to go watch some
women's soccer team?
Baylor versus A&M, women's soccer, yep.
I will cheer for A&M in that, because I never cheer for Baylor in
Love
anything.
that.
Okay, so this is in response to your best friend, Coach Snark.
Coach Snark.
It's from July 15th, 2023.
Yep.
So you're bragging about how great of a coach Jimbo is right now in 2023. Jimbo had A&M finish in the top 5 3 seasons ago. I know, COVID season. It's infinitely better than anything Texas has done in roughly a dozen years, and more than Sark has ever dreamed of accomplishing as a head coach. You could have stopped after that, like midway through there, and this wouldn't have been a good bookmark.
It's a common theme, isn't it?
That last chunk of dreamed of accomplishing as a head coach kind of put you over the edge.
Hey, it's good to dream, isn't it? It's good thing. Good thing.
It's funny what happens when you shoot for the stars.
Good thing your head coach kept dreaming and didn't let my little Twitter fingers discourage him. Right?
I mean, nobody liked that tweet, so I'm sure he didn't even see it.
I think you're right, though. I think that what you just said is that's something, words to live by. Right? You could have.
And also, this is a thing that you like to criticize Texas for being very proud of the past. Like past national championships. You seem very proud of that top 5 finish 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
But it's a problem when other teams do it. So
A&M needs to get back in that mix. And I think, listen, this right here, I'm just glad that you were able to get SEC Mike and bookmark him. It felt good. I kind of just sat back. It got me a little bit because I'm like, damn.
He took it by the chin. Like he was like, yep.
I knew he would.
I was dumb back then. Like I can respect that,
because you
a lot of times you go into this and you're like, well, this condition, I'm going to go on this tirade about Trevor Lawrence and these excuses.
You think I was a little defensive on that one?
And just
listen. Full disclosure, a little peek behind the curtain here. You said, should I have bookmark him? I could find a couple. I said, yes, he's got a great sense of humor. So, no, Amanda's not going to ambush every guest that we have from now on.
No, I mean, I got to say, I don't think, from the other guests that we have lined up, I don't think I'll be finding any bookmarks on those people because they don't tweet like you guys.
Oh, Everybody's got bad ones.
I don't know. Us women, we keep things close to the chest.
Y'all are more conservative. Y'all are like you don't.
Our friend Casey,
put yourself out there.
I peeked at Casey's. She's clean. She got nothing except for that one video people like to clown her about for Barstool, which I don't like that.
Poor Casey. Casey tried to have my back today, but you could just tell she's like rooting for you. So I'm like,
he's like,
you know
dude,
what,
you've done this to yourself.
You literally sat at this desk, Casey. No, but she. I know Casey. Like her and Rutledge both have been. They thoroughly enjoy your bookmarking and our little clips. So we'll keep it going. We got next week. We're really previewing the season next week, honestly, because next week we'll do it, and it's going to come out Tuesday. And that, by the way, Amanda, is a little thing we like to call Game Week.
Yes. Game week, one of the biggest games of the season for Texas. And
it is.
Got my Arch Manning jersey ready. I do.
Aggies versus Roadrunners, Longhorns versus Buckeyes. It'll be.
What a big game for you guys.
Hey, trust me, they're all big when they're the first one.
Let's just not do an App State. Let's not do an App State.
Okay, we're going to quit on that note. Amanda, we'll talk to you next week. Go enjoy your La Casa. I'm going to go enjoy some soccer. And I'm Billy.
I'm Amanda.
And I am moving goalposts, but she is on moving goalposts.